NetsBoy, so let's hear what he has to say. His name is NetsBoy, he thinks the world is all over when the Nets just can't play. What up, Net fans? NetsBoy here bringing you latest in your Brooklyn Nets news. All right, let's dive right in because there's a lot to talk about, and it's been a while since my last NetsBoy episode, like always. We're just a couple days away from the NBA draft. It's going to be this Thursday, and there have been a lot of rumors circulating throughout this, going into the draft. Of course, the Nets won the lottery, or should I say the Celtics won the lottery, which is just a classic slap in the face to Nets fans, which, let's be honest, if you've been a Nets fan as long as me, you're used to this disappointment and frustration, so it's just kind of like, duh, of course they were going to get that pick. And then obviously the Celtics traded it to the 76ers, and now the 76ers have the first overall pick. But either way, should have been the Nets if Billy King wasn't such a, should I be political, dumbass. There we go. We'll just say dumbass. But, no use harping on the past. All right, we're going to focus on the future, the draft, future. And I think the Nets are going to be heavily involved in this draft coming up. So let's just look right now at what the Nets have at this point. So going into the draft, they have the 22nd overall pick, the 27th overall pick, and an extremely useless 57th overall pick. I'm not even going to waste any time talking about that 57th overall pick. I don't even care who they draft there. I don't even think it's going to be any relevancy at all, but whatever. But the Nets have been linked to trying to trade for another pick in the first round of the draft. Sean Marks said he would like to have 3 picks in this draft. He likes having 2. He'd love to have 3. So, one of the things that obviously a lot of people were assuming would happen is that the Nets would trade Brook Lopez for one of those picks. But the truth is there have not been a lot of rumors circulating about the Nets trading Lopez, at least not at this point, which is interesting to me because I thought that would make a lot of sense, but not quite, not at this point at least. So, right now it looks like Lopez will probably stay where he is, at least through the draft. That doesn't mean anything though, because the Nets have been very quiet with what they're planning on doing in the draft, but so were they last year. That's what they do. They like to drop in pens. You need to have a pen in your hand or else you just can't talk. I don't know. That doesn't make any sense. But anyway, the Nets have always been quiet about what they're going to do in the draft. They were quiet about what they were going to do last year. But, no one saw Karis LeVert getting drafted at all last year. No one saw that coming. So Sean Marks likes to be quiet, and that's why you haven't heard a lot. So who knows? Maybe Lopez will get traded. But the one thing that they have been talked about is them trading with the Trailblazers. Now, the Trailblazers have 3 picks in this draft. They have the 15th, the 20th, and the 26th. And a lot of people think that they're going to trade one of those picks to try to dump one of their contracts because they have a lot of bad contracts. And the Nets, having as much cap space as they have, are a great option to take on one of those bad contracts to move up in the draft. You see, it's kind of like a match made in heaven type thing. One team wants to dump players and a pick, and the other one team wants to acquire a player or has the cap space for it but wants a pick. You know what I mean? And I think that makes a lot of sense. And that's something I think will happen. One of the trade rumors that I heard is one that I'm 100% for. And that's the Nets trading Sean Kilpatrick to the Trailblazers for Myers Leonard and the 15th overall pick. Now, right off the bat, it doesn't seem like the fairest trade, but the truth is, if the Trailblazers really just want to dump a bad contract, and Leonard's contract is bad. It's like he signed a 4-year, $41 million contract last year, and he averaged like 5 points a game last year. If they really want to get rid of that contract, it's worth it for them. Even if they lose the 15th overall pick, they get a solid scorer in Sean Kilpatrick who could really help solidify that Portland bench. And, I think Portland, obviously, with the team they have with McCullough and Lillard and, the Allen Crabbe and all the young guys that they have, Sean Kilpatrick could be actually a decent fit there. So that makes sense. And then if you're the Nets, to go up to the 15th, to get the 15th overall pick, and then you're going to have now the 15th, the 22nd, and the 27th, that's pretty damn good. In addition to that, Myers Leonard might have had a bad year, but I don't think he's that bad of a player. He's a stereotypical stretch 4, stretch 5. He's like a better version of what Justin Hamilton was. He can shoot the 3 ball. He's not the most athletic, but he's not unathletic. And I think he's a good player who can play either next to or behind Brook Lopez. And let's be honest, the Nets did not have a lot of solid front court depth last season. So bringing a player like Leonard, who, by the way, is still only 25, so has room to develop, I think that's a good fit. And I think that would really, really work out well for the Nets. So that's something I really hope to see. That's what I would like. There's a few other situations where the Nets could trade other players, like maybe Trevor Booker for the 15th overall pick, and so on and so forth, or they can take on that contract, or maybe they take on Alan Crabb's contract, because remember, the Nets really wanted Alan Crabb. But the truth is, if they're going to go after a player like Crabb and the 15th overall pick, they probably would need to try to probably trade more than just like a Trevor Booker or a Sean Kilpatrick. So personally, I think that trade makes the most sense, and I would love to see the Nets do that. Then, as for who they're going to try to trade, who they're going to try to draft, I have heard so many rumors of players. There might have been at least like 11 names that I have read that the Nets could draft at any of their picks. But I'll just tell you the few that I think make sense. If they get that 15th overall pick, I think there's a couple guys who I would look at. In particular, one player. That's Justin Jackson out of UNC. Now, Justin Jackson is a projected lottery pick. So he may not be available at the 15th overall pick, but who knows? I think he's a solid player. He is a small forward. The Nets need a small forward. He's a solid defensive player. He's very athletic. He has a decent shot. They say he's kind of like a similar style to Otto Porter Jr. And the Nets have also been linked to being expected to go after both Caldwell Pope and Otto Porter Jr. in free agency. So why not bring in a guy who's similar to both those guys? And that's what they kind of feel that Justin Jackson could be. Whether he's available there, I don't know. But I think that's who I would go for if I had the 15th overall pick. If I don't, then obviously you're not worrying about that because he's not going to be available by the 22nd overall pick. But that's what I would do. I would if I got that pick, I'd go after Justin Jackson. And if he's not available, I just go over for the best player I can get at that spot. Now, for the 22nd overall pick, the Nets could go a whole bunch of ways. But one guy in particular that I think would fit really well is Justin Patton out of Creighton. Now, as we all know, I'm a Seton Hall alum, so I got to watch a lot of Big East games, and I got to watch Justin Patton play out of Creighton. And I have to say, I see the potential. I don't think he's going to be as good as people think he really can be. But, I see it. He's 6'11", he's athletic, he's a decent shot blocker, solid rebounder, could probably play really well next to Lopez, has a decent mid-range game. The biggest con to him is he doesn't really have the NBA body yet, He's kind of long and lanky. If he put on some muscle and developed a little bit more of an NBA body, I could see him being a really solid power forward / center in the NBA. So I think that's somebody that the Nets could definitely try to get with the 22nd overall pick. He's projected mid to late first round, so he may not be available either, but he could be. And that's somebody that I would try to get if I'm the Nets. If I can't get him, I would go after other, bigs. Because to me, that's what the Nets need. They need a point guard as well. They need a lot of things, let's be honest. They need a point guard, a solid point guard. I like Whitehead as the backup, but you want a little bit more than that. Maybe Dinwiddie provides some ability. I don't know, but they definitely need a small forward, and they definitely need some more front court help. So I think, if not Patton, maybe someone like Jarrett Allen out of Texas, solid center. Nothing great about him, but just an overall solid big. Ike Anagbagu out of UCLA. He's somebody I think could be really good. He is very athletic and very long as well. Could be a good rebounder and defensive player. And then there's players like Harry Giles out of Duke or OG Anunoby out of Indiana, who are both players who had injuries, coming off these injuries, and are lottery talented players that are going to most likely fall in the late first round because of their injury, just like Karis LeVert. So those are players that the Nets could go after as well. So those are definitely guys that I can see them going after with that 22nd overall pick. And I think they all fit well. Having another front court player will always help, especially if the Nets do decide to trade Brook Lopez. It'd be nice to have someone on the team that they could try to make as the center to replace him. So I think that makes a lot of sense. And then with the 27th overall pick, there's been a lot of rumors that the Nets are going to go after, going to try to pronounce his name, Anasagic Passanetics. Anasagic Passanetics. That is definitely not how to pronounce his name. But anyway, he played on the Latvian national team. Actually played with Porzingis on the 18-year-old and under team way back then when they were both under 18. He's considered to be a watered-down version of Porzingis. They say they have a very similar skill set. He's not quite as raw in the sense of like the overall skill set as Porzingis, but they say he's a very solid, stereotypical, pick and pop type of big who has a similar athletic build to Porzingis. So, I mean, why not? A lot of people think that that's going to be a draft and stash move by the Nets is if they drafted him, but a lot of people think that makes a lot of sense, and I think it makes a lot of sense. And whether he gets drafted and he comes to the team right away and has a chance to try to prove himself, or he gets stashed for a couple of years, why not? The draft and stash idea, though, to me, just doesn't work out a lot. I mean, Bojan Bogdanovic was a draft and stash player, and he was solid, but he wasn't super special. I can't really think off the top of my head of any true draft and stash player that really, really played well when they came over. I could be wrong. I don't really know every single player who's ever been drafted and then came over a couple years later. And was, I don't know that many of those players. So maybe if anybody wants to comment and say, like, hey, this player was a draft and stash player and he was, X, Y, and Z, I'll be like, oh, cool, I didn't know that. Because I really can't think of any super successful draft and stash player, but that doesn't mean it won't happen. And I think that that's not a bad player to go after, a player who's considered to be a lot like Porzingis. If you want to, you can just, Google his name or just, you don't even need to Google his name. Just Google Nets News, and that'll pop up as one of the links, That's where I do most of my rumors. I just type in Brooklyn Nets latest rumors, and I search, like, the first 5 links that pop up on the Google web. I don't do that much research. I don't have all that time. I'm a very busy guy. But anyway, I think that wouldn't be a bad move for the Nets. And I think that makes a lot of sense. And I think that's what I would like to see. Overall, I really don't know who the Nets are going to draft. Sean Marks hasn't given any information, and personally, as long as they're a good player, and look, I had no idea who the hell Levert was, and I'm damn proud that the Nets drafted him. So I can't speculate too much on what the Nets are going to do, and I can't be upset if they don't do something that I want them to do, because I don't even know what I really want them to do. I mean, in my opinion, what I would like to see is I would like to see the Nets make that trade, Kilpatrick for Leonard, and the 15th overall pick, so the Nets have Leonard. And I would like to see them, with the 15th overall pick, draft Justin Jackson, and then with the 22nd, Justin Patton, and then with the 27th overall pick, draft and stash Anasagic Passanetics. I don't know if I think I just completely pronounced his name different than I did last time, but the Latvian player. That's what I would like to see the Nets do. And then, go into free agency and swing for the fences with a couple free agents and make some smart moves. But I'm going to save that for another NetsBoy episode, what the Nets should do free agents-wise, because they got to have a lot of cap space, and that's a whole other monster to talk about is free agency. But this one was all about the draft. So that's what I would like to see the Nets do. Why don't you guys comment and let me know which players you think the Nets should try to go after. If maybe you think they should make a trade with the Blazers as well and move up, or maybe trade someone else and try to move up, or any other ideas. Or if you happen to know of a draft and stash player who's super successful that I just can't think of. So let me know. And until then, get ready for the NBA draft because it's right around the corner. And keep your eyes open for the next NetsBoy episode because it should be pretty soon. It should be in a week or so, probably right after the draft. Maybe a couple of days after the draft, maybe a week after the draft, because, like I say in every episode, I'm very, very busy. That's why these videos have went from, like, every week to every other week to, like, once a month, because there's just so much that goes on in NetsBoy's life. But keep your eyes open, and let's see what happens. So until then, this is NetsBoy, signing off.